verbruikskykkers. Ek weet daar's klomp mense wat in angstig wag vir môre om te hoor wat ons te sê het. Also very welcome to our English-speaking viewers and especially our international viewers. And also a hearty welcome to our Australian friends that had a sale yesterday. The sale was conducted by House of Fibre. It was very successful. I must say the timing for my visit wasn't right. I'm very glad this morning, but I'm not on the aeroplane on my way to Australia. But saying that, I hope the damage with your floods, water floods, rain floods is not too much and that you'll survive. We all know that the results at the moment doesn't look particularly well, and I want to say a few things about it. It makes it very difficult to draw up an accurate report on yesterday's sale. With only 55% sold, well, at least it's improvement from the previous sale. That was mainly due because of better demand for kids, and which is a good sign. But the information is a bit skewed. You must remember, we quote the market down with another 6%, or the previous sale 6.6%, out of that sale 6.2%. But that is actually not a reflection of what happened in the market. You must remember, the stuff that we do sell is the more inferior types. It may still be a kit, but it will be a kit with a fault, a cleaning fault or a seal fault, or so. So the stuff we do sell, and we don't really, if it sells, it sells. We don't safeguard that market. But you must remember the other 50%, if it is a little bit of quality, we don't allow it to come down yet at the market. What I've done yesterday, if it's in 10 Rand of my valuation and there was competition on the lot, I tend to sell it because that is the best price of the day. But it must be in 10 Rand of my valuation, and my valuation is based on the previous sales prices, so the market might come down 1 or 2% on the stuff that we did keep back. But we, as far as possible, we want to find a balance between get money into the farmer's pocket and to safeguard the market that it doesn't really fall into pieces. So it is a difficult job. I must say, everybody is looking for the positive side, and there is a positive side. I've mentioned in my written report that the big quantity of Mohair is gone now. The big sales where we have yesterday and Monday, that's why it's 2 days sale again, was over 170,000 kilos. It was offered off Cape, and that is gone now. And you must remember that the Lesotho that was also selling quite big sales. The last of the Lesotho was also sold yesterday. So the next sale we will really see what is going on in the market, because it will be substantially smaller. When I say substantially, nearly 40% smaller. High quality offering. The second last sale will be the real top flock selling and studs, and on the last sale is usually also very smaller, much smaller. So I think we'll definitely see improvement in price and selling percentage from next sale onwards. I hope that is true, because I've kept some sale clips back for the next sale. But the same factors that in the world is still there. the war in between the Ukraine and Russia is still going on. It still have a huge effect on the energy crisis in Europe. And but the market dropped now with 20%. So and the exchange rate is into the buyer's favor. So I think that is why we see a improvement in the kit market yesterday. I think kits is now cheap enough yet for them to buy, and that's what we said right from the word go. Europeans said that Mohair is too expensive. I know we didn't like that story, but they're not used to inflation of 13% and 14%. So any businessman will make a plan. Unfortunately, we don't know much what's happening in China, except on what we see on the news. There's not much in the news. But China is still virtually blocked by COVID. And I see there is forecast that COVID will spread to, a new variation will spread to Europe this coming winter season. But let's not go there. But China is at a standstill. I've mentioned on the previous sale that what makes me positive, that pipeline to China is empty. We all know that if a country is opening after COVID, things can dramatically recover. And if China just buy the normal quantity that they're supposed to buy now in October, November, then our problems are solved. There's not a lot of stock. I know this past 2 or 3 sales didn't go well, but in the world picture that is not such a big lot of Mohair. And you must remember it's all quality Mohair. To put a little bit of a perspective on the market, if you compare it to the exact sale a year ago, sorry, you'll see we're 8-9% below that. In that market, and the rand was stronger at that stage. So yes, definitely the market is down in real terms compared to a year ago. But we must also remember that was the start. The winter season was the start of that new fashion demand for Mohair, and it continued right into the summer season. So we had a full year of very, very good prices. And everything cleared and that was a whole club. It wasn't just a demand for kids or young girls or adults, it was demand for everything. But move one step back another year, 2 years ago, on the same sale, we still between 50 and 40% better off than that sale. That sale average was 260 Rand. The RMS strips at this moment stands at the average of 340 Rand. Non-RMS is not far from that 260, they are around about 280. But it shows you that there's a weird 25-50% difference between 2 years ago and now. So it's not that there's a complete downfall of the market. Things will recover, and we must just be patient. All right, we recommend it for all our yet sellers right for word go. If it does, put a reserve on, and if it doesn't sell, put it into the pool. We had a very good reaction. We have a lot. I think there's only 2 or 3 clients that hasn't replied yet. You must remember that we will email you the contract, and people, I know you will get a fright if you see the contract of 20-50 pages. I've worked for the past few years with that contract. There is no catch in the contract. It is basically just to confirm which amount is going to be paid out to you, and that the contract is for the year, and that the Mohair of Africa or the trust has the first right to recover their money when you start selling. We're away from the floor price, so it's easy. The Mohair stays in your ownership, and I can set it at any time. It's not that it's in the pool now and you're combined with other guys and it's difficult to sell, or no, it's available all the time. So if there's a recovery, we can immediately go into that recovery. My personal view is that I don't think we'll re-offer it. I think as the market recovers, buyers will come back and buy direct from a catalogue, because they valued it on the catalogue, and then it's easy to sell, and we know what is the reserve prices, and hopefully naturally we'll try to get a better price. So that was it in short. That is a long story. I think also want to mention what we at House of Fibre and BKB do is we buy in the bins. That is not sold. At a conservative price, yes, but I think the farmers must know that is our input in this difficult situation, because a lot of people are asking, what are you doing as a broker? Just to give you an idea, we invest in your Mohair 6 million rand per sale. That is money that I must borrow. I don't have it. But I think it's worth my while to keep my smaller guy on the go. And from my Australian friends, you don't have a pull system where I can go with the not sold stuff. But there again, I've bought some of your bins, more of the POK bins in, just to help you guys as well. So that is my story. Let's see and wait for the next sale. It is 3 weeks time before the next sale. It's only in November, the first week in November, and I definitely expect an improvement in the price. Let's go to the slides, and you'll see there on the first page that we offered 628 lots. We sold 346 lots. That's a sales clearance of 55%. Actually, our sale clearance it looks better. It's here around about 70%, but you must remember that is Mohair that we as a broker bought in. Price movement, we did say a bit of it now in the preview. Young codes came down with 10%, adults with 7%, and kids, in my case, only with 2%. We had an excellent kid market. And it was very much on the same level, and you will see when we go to the different microns. 24 micron actually went up in price yesterday. Yet the big drop was with young goats, because on the previous sale there was a good demand for young goats, and we will come back to it. One of the buyers were out of the market in young goats, and so we see a big drop of 10% in the young goat price. Adults was more or less the same, but you must remember it's the poorer qualities that we did sell. If we move to the next slide, we see on a year-to-year basis, I've mentioned that there is a 9.8% difference between last year's sale and this year's sale. But we must remember our sale before that, of the year before that, there's 25% drop in price. So just to keep things in perspective. Then the next slide with the price movement per micron group. And here again, I want just to concentrate on the RMS, and that is where one of the reasons why I said that it's difficult to have accurate statistics on a sale like this. The non-RMS is virtually impossible. You'll see there's drops of 20%, but two lots went up in price. But you must remember, at House of Fibre, between 85 and 95% of the catalogue is RMS. So a little bit that is non-RMS is really not accurate anymore to have a sale report on. So I put it there for statistics reasons, And the difference between RMS and non-RMS on yesterday's sale was the biggest ever, at 16% difference. People, that is 40, 50 rand a kilo, 16% on the average price is 40, 50 rand. But there was virtually no interest in non-RMS stuff. If we look at the RMS stuff on Vyver again, I'm not going to go into detail, but there you can see 26 micron only 1% down, 24 micron 2% up, 25 micron 4% down. I must say the demand was for the finer microns, 25 and better. And then if you look at the young goats, then you start seeing 50, 51 micron, then you start seeing drops of 11% and 13%. The adults more back to the 7, 6, 7%. You can have a look on the sale report there in detail. The exchange rate didn't play much of a role yesterday. Not a big difference. On the previous sale it was 17.92 and yesterday it was 18.04. In the week it was quite weaker, but yesterday, so not a real big difference, about 1% difference. If we look at the exchange rate, but as I say, I don't think it did play a role yesterday. Then the next slide, the graphs. You'll see there the indicator, the dollar indicator is still around $27, which under circumstances is not too bad. Next slide, the one that all the farmers want to look at. You'll see there that the fine stuff at 25 micron and finer. There, Boeta Grobler there, the top price of 665. Jonkersdek, that is Troddy van der Merwe at 648. Yeah, that was a very good sale yesterday. And then Delport Brewers, and I must say, I want to say something about Delport Brewers because you will see they've got the top price as well, but for the 26 micron at 700 rand a kilo. They had 7 bales of kits on the market, and the average price for that 7 bales was 620 rand a kilo. That was really an excellent offering. And the top bale, actually super style, 26.5 micron, clean yield of nearly 90%. And all the other bales, the good style bale, the plus average bales, and even the stronger bales sold at excellent prices. So the moment when the farmers see that you're an RMS clip, but you've put a special effort into preparing your clip, you'll see the difference. I think that you can say the same for Troddy van der Merwe yesterday. They've seen that they've put some effort in that clip and it did reap the benefit out of it. I'm especially proud of the bidding department there. Also on 665 rand a kilo, the top price for the bins. And thank you, Andrew. It was really a top bale, super style bale of a 26.2 micron. And I know that they put effort into the quality into their bins. And there was also a younger that was really selling at a special price. Then the 28-29 micron lot, you see then Mr. Koorts from Prince Albert, you always have a very good clip. 600 rand for a 28-29, in his case a 28 micron. That is way, average price for a 28 micron is 540, 550 rand a kilo. He sold his top bale for 600 rand a kilo. And then House of Fibre bidding 561 and Flakale Boerdery Trust from Ripron at 558. And you can see there the 50 micron, 51 micron. Again, the Koorts is Troddy again and the Hoogeleven Boerdery from Oudtshoorn. And then the 52 micron, 53 micron, you'll see there that there's a fibre bin at the top, which I mentioned, Tony again, the billets from Turkestad, and you can see there for yourself. And then the 54, 55 micron, you'll see there Boetgreef and Belarus from Vyver. You can read it for yourself. Then you come to the stronger adults. The Vleugel Trust done well yet again in the Daniels from Kirkwood. You will see that on the slide itself. It's not necessary for me to read it out to you. There you can, if you look at the next slide, and that is one of my problems faced yesterday. Northern Falls usually by 10 to 15%. Yesterday only 4.6%. VVC is usually between 1 and 5%. You bought it 3%, and Ken is always buying the best, and he really helped me yesterday on the top prices. Thank you, Ken, and Vitaly Barberis Economica. That is what the VVC stands for. They are well known that they only buy the best. Samuel came in quite strongly. Yes, I did pick up that I criticized him on the previous interview, and he said it's disappointing that Samuel bought so little. Yesterday he bought 23%, which made a huge difference. So he took up my criticism, and he was the biggest buyer yesterday. Stukken, second biggest at 19%, but that Sudwala, which was the second biggest buyer on the previous sale, with buying 25% of the sale, yesterday only 2%. That's the reason why Youngos came down. Alice Conacher, I'm very thankful. She bought a normal between 3 and 5%, and it all plays a role. And then actually there was a huge amount of 390 lots passed in or not sold. The next sale, as I mentioned, the first week in November, the 8th of November. I'm quite sure that we will have better results by then. That will give us a real indication of what's going on in the market, and hopefully things improve in the meantime. But for things to dramatically improve, the local processors will start doing business. I don't expect a lot of after sales today. I don't expect hardly any, and I think I will start preparing the contracts for going into the pool. That's all from my side. God bless, and have a good 2 or 3 weeks ahead before the next sale. Hopefully I'm totally wrong and that we see a dramatic turnaround in the marketplace. Baie dankie ook aan almal wat gekyk het en die moeite wat ek gedoen het. Jammer ek praat so min Afrikaans, maar ons het 'n redelike internasionale aanhang wat na die video kyk wat ongelukkig nie Afrikaans verstaan nie. Maar ek glo julle sal verstaan, en ek is nie 'n doelbewuste poging om Afrikaans af te skep nie. Ons sê dankie ook vir julle wat gereeld kyk, en alle seën ook vir julle vir die 2 of 3 weke wat voor lê.